G'day everyone, Jason Nunn, Fisherman's Warehouse Marine, Sweet Street at Warners Bay, your Newcastle Honda marine dealer. Damn hot today, but of course Saturday, 40 degrees on the coast, and that wind's probably going to be northwest in the morning to a northerly. We've got a pretty good southerly or southeast actually on Sunday. Temperatures drop back down to around about 25 degrees, so it's going to be 20 knots or better. So if you're going to do some fishing, obviously today being Thursday, Friday into Saturday, but Saturday, very, very hot tides for this weekend, guys. 20 past 8 on Saturday morning in the AM, low tide. Now that low tide, 0.8 of a metre, so it's not a very low tide at all. It's at like a half tide virtually. And our high tide in the afternoon, 12 minutes past 2, and again 1.4. So you're only seeing like nearly half a metre of fluctuation of tide. So it's not going to be so crucial on the bar, but you've got to consider that with the temperature, we get an increase in those northeast winds in excess of 20 to 25 knots. And that's what's anticipated today, tomorrow, those big, strong nor'easters coming down the coast. So just need to be a little bit mindful bar crossing. Give you an update of what's going on outside. And of course, it's all about marlin if you're an offshore fisherman at the present moment. A lot of marlin up off the bay, that is for sure. Mixed in with, there's a lot of all stripes. There's the odd black, and there's a few blues now starting to get around. A lot of bait. I sent a video there just only this morning. A couple of the boys are out there. Bait ball on the surface, got a fish out of that. They're definitely getting a few marlin down on the southern canyon, so you don't necessarily have to go to Nelson Bay to catch marlin. You can go off Swansea, and of course the inshore, that 80 to 100 metre line, there's quite a few striped marlin in there. Water temperatures are really going to get away on us quite quickly. At the moment, 25.5 to 26.5 degrees on the shelf. If you look further to the north and you look up towards, say, Port Macquarie, thereabouts, and obviously that water's moving down quite quickly, 27.5 degree water now coming through. So we'll have 27.5 degree water here in the next week or two. That, I think, will put an end to the striped marlin. The striped marlin now are stacking up down on the south coast. Reports 11 from 14s. I know Guy, I've seen his post this week. Look, phenomenal fishing down on the south coast, and there's a big 2 degree temp break down there. I reckon by another 4 weeks' time, we'll be just chasing black marlin and blues. Haven't heard a lot of blacks coming down south yet. I definitely think around that southwest rocks area into Port Macquarie, we'll start to see it. Golden Lure is on this weekend into next, so we'll get some updates on that. But if you're ever going to catch a marlin, now's your time. So you don't necessarily have to get the shelf, you can fish the inshore fishery. A lot of slimies through the system and not a lot of big dolphin fish yet. Reports that I'm getting, just legal dolphin fish, and those just legal dolphin fish, guys, are pretty skinny on when you fillet them on as well. So we haven't started to see that, but with this big influx of hot water coming down over the next few weeks, we'll probably be starting to see wahoo, and definitely those dolphin fish will pick up in numbers. If it continues into February, there's every opportunity on the inshore fishery, particularly up at Port Stephens. You may indeed see Spanish mackerel. It's very, very hot and can only get hotter at the present moment. If you're going to go out on the farm, reports, I spoke to Bill, or Bill actually gave me a text there today. It's like a desert down on the Texas at the present moment, so only pelagic activity down there, nothing really on the bottom. Inshore is really the key. Very good trag out there at the moment, guys. You've got the last quarter of the moon coming back now, so basically you're going to start to see the dark cycle head in around about Tuesday, so that looks good maybe for a prawn run out of Swansea, but we'll get to see it. But the offshore, trag, snapper, flathead, and of course a few bonito. Bonito are not thick by any imagination, but at least they're there, and there's a lot of slimies and yellowtail on these inshore reefs, so it does give you the opportunity to possibly put a couple of liveys down or even balloon one out the back. There'll definitely be pelagic, even marlin and possibly dolphin fish on that inshore as well. But definitely mulloway on these inshore reefs. Something that a lot of guys neglect to do nowadays is put live baits down when you're in about 25, 35 metres of water. Well worth the effort. One, for bigger class snapper, but definitely for mulloway, really worth a go. And big trag will always take live bait. Beaches, well, these big nor'easters in the afternoon are going to be a little bit of a problem, I suppose. They'll sweep across, but there's not a lot of swell. So if you want to get up there early in the morning, that's the key. That tide running down into the low right on dusk isn't too bad, but some really nice brim and whiting on the beaches, and I've seen some really good shots some very nice mulloway, and they're not big mulloway. Look there, those fish 85s into about $1.10 m, but some really nice mulloway on the beaches. So it gives you the opportunity, if you want to go cast a few lures off the beach, throw it for flathead, and obviously the bycatch being mulloway. So really good to see. I think Stockton this time of year as well is very, very worthwhile to get up there and have a bit of a look at. Haven't heard much activity on the rocks, guys. Again, you're going to need to go and have a bit of a look. I still think a few inshore snapper, definitely bonito, and a few rat kings if you want to sort of mix it up a little bit. The kings are still in the channel. There's been some better fish this week. I know Josh's mate got one through the week, a bit over 90 centimetres. So there's some bigger kings in the channel, and definitely into the lake for downrigging. Now again, I think the downrigging's better because you can get away from everybody, and there's lots of markers in Lake Macquarie. So if you can get some live yakkers, live squid, just that downrigging or slow trolling if you haven't got a downrigger, just put it on a heavier weight and get down. I think that could be the advantage. The bycatch, of course, is mulloway, and at the moment there's been some really nice mulloway. A lot of small fish, 55s, 60s, 65s, and then you'll get something around about 95 $1.10 m. So there's a real variant in size, but there's a lot of those juvenile fish. I don't know whether that's necessarily from the breeding cycle or indeed some of the restocking that's been going on from DPI over the last couple of years, but a lot of small mulloway, a lot of very good flathead in the lake at the moment. 81s, high 80s, into the early 90s. This is what you expect this time of year. It's the breeding cycle for these flatheads. So guys, if you catch these big fish, obviously one, you've got to release them, of course, but try to minimise the time that they're out of the water and get them back, and don't try to hold them up if you can. Well, you shouldn't be trying to do that to take a photo. Just get them down, have it, if you can. Best idea is just wet your towel, lay them on it, get a photograph, put the brag neck next to it, try to keep them off the hot aluminium and get them back in the water as quickly as you can. If they're hooked when you're using baits, just cut the line and get them back. But there's a lot of fish, 45s into the 60s, even 65s. So there's a lot on offer if you're a flathead fisherman. There's some big whiting on the flats, 40 centimetre plus jobs. With this prawn run coming through or starting next Tuesday, that's a great opportunity into next week. Not only one to get out there and get a few of those king prawns or eastern king prawns that are coming out. They'll only be small, but there's a lot of offer there. There'll be a few squid overnight as well. But getting some prawns, live prawns, and going back onto the flats and just floating out some of those live prawns. There's some beautiful whiting to be had, some very nice brim amongst them. There's still a lot of those schoolies, but of an evening, you tend to get the better ones, and there's even a few very big tarwine in the channel. So you've got a little bit of diversity there. Crabs, look, there's still a bit of an opportunity to get at crabs. I showed my good mate Mick Shepherd there just not long ago. They had a few cuts in yesterday, only got one, but hand line. A lot of guys have forgotten the old school method of hand lining with a fish frame or a head of a fish or even a strip, and got some really nice crabs hand lining. And I think sometimes with a lot of traffic, and if there's dozens and dozens of pots around, they do get a bit coy with going in and feeding. So the hand lining it is a great opportunity to sort of like increase your rate on blue swimmer crabs. All in all, looks like a great weekend. It's just going to be a damn hot Saturday. Enjoy yourselves, put a hat on, plenty of block out. We'll see you next week.